Okay, so good morning, everyone. Today is our stakeholder presentations, and we are Team PAMI. So here is our group lead, and I'm the leader. So at first, I'll pass to my team member Evelyn to explain the backgrounds. So Evelyn.
All right, thank you, Miranda. So firstly, we will start on the background that comprises of 3 points stated. Before we move into it, I'll give a small context background. Basically, ETW Corporation Finance Team has embarked on a program to modernize their financial management. Now, I'll move on to the first issue. The first issue is the inefficiency in financial team practices through redundant and poor distribution of existing data resources inferred from the current practices. We know that there's multiple version of spreadsheets that exist and constraint in its reproducibility. The issue mentioned has caused a heavy impact on financial department performance as inefficient slow down work productivity and might cause incurred loss in time, cost, quality, and morale. Our proposed solution would be the automated financial reporting through the Power BI, as it acts as a centralized information distribution system. As shown in the presentation, multiple data could be transformed and incorporated into one data schema and relationship while simultaneously tackle redundancy through eliminating overlapping financial data resources. Now, I'll move on to the second issue. The second issue would be the lack of standardization or constraint in standardization as inferred previously from its current practice. We know that the reproducibility and standardization is often not possible. It will heavily affect the financial team work outcome as excessive variation of data might cause a distinct problem due to the no uniformity in reporting, as the data will not be conveyed effectively or accurately amongst the finance team, enhancing the risk of inaccuracy displayed by the team member. Our solution will be the dashboard generated by Power BI, as it enable compilation of large data set and display effective data visualization. As we could see in the presentation, it will be easier to derive all the valuable insight from the visualization. Furthermore, this visualization will promote standardization and efficiency while simultaneously minimize the risk of accuracy. Now, I'll move on to the next slide.
So I will continue with the project plans. So our estimated time frames and budget is actually 32 days. And the first baseline completion date is 14 October. And the budget is 23,482. And for after we key in the actual days, right, our final durations is actually 33 days, which is 1.5 day later compare with the baseline, and the completion day like after is 1.5 day later, which is 15 October. And actually we have a decrease in our budget, which will show the number in the next slide. And there's few discrepancy in our group, which is the miscommunications due to the different design ideas in for the Power BI, which cause a delay in our estimated completion dates. And for a clashing hour due to the among the team member also will cause a delay in our meeting or the discussions and cause a delay in our completion date. And there's few issue caused by the additional work, which there's more effort we need to added to finish the additional tasks. And due to the lack of resources, we can't actually fulfill all the tasks that request by the clients. And there's for a last minute reallocation for all our resources. And the detail is shown for the next slide. We can see that actually we finished the task is 1.5 day later compared to the baseline, and the budget is actually 1,894 less than the baseline estimated budget. So we received an update from our manager, which show in the left-hand side. There's 4 tasks we actually need to finish it, but because we have limited resources, so we only choose task 2 to finish, and we create a updated tab in the Power BI, which core name is the invoice tab. And there's some reallocations in our resources, which we have create the visual for invoice. This task is actually handled by Power BI tool, and we replace the cash position to BI tool. So we can see that the create visual for financial performance and cash position can perform in the same time. So now I'll pass to Alyssa to do the closing remark.
Yep. So for the closing remark, we came up with a few conclusions. So the first conclusion is that we actually have a delay in tasks for about 1.5 days later than the set baseline date. And this can be explained by having an additional 0.5 days delay for doing the task for visualization of the financial tab. And the updated task from the stakeholders of making the invoice tab caused a further delay of 1 day. The second conclusion is that we actually save a lot of cost, as the actual cost is actually lower than the estimated cost. And this can be explained by being our team efficiently allocating resources. Third conclusion is that the request from the client of making an invoice tab has been completed, and it was completed mid-project as well. So I'll move on to the recommendations. The first recommendation is actually to have more meetings. I think, as Miranda explained, we have to increase our communication, because I think this is really important to get tasks done. The second recommendation is actually to research on the tools that was used, which is Power BI MS Project, because our team members are not very familiar on these tools. So having additional research will definitely save a lot of time and efforts when completing this task. The third recommendation is actually to set and organize a proper time management. And this is because everyone in the team has different schedules. So it was very difficult for us to set a proper meeting date and also the duration of the meeting. So that's how we should improve. I'll move on to the learnings. The first learning that we've done is actually to improve on the communication between. We realized that communication between the members and stakeholders are very important when we want to complete the task on time. So this is the case because there was an update from the client towards completing the invoice tab, and when they updated us, we were actually in progress of completing the task already, and this caused further delays in tasks. The second learning is actually to set realistic expectation capabilities of each member. I think at the start, we actually overestimated the capabilities of each member, and we thought that we could finish a lot of the tasks in a shorter duration of time, which wasn't the case, and cause a delay in certain tasks. Lastly, the final learning is actually to always closely conduct monitoring off-screen towards each member about their progress, meaning that we shouldn't wait for the intermediate stand-up or final stand-up to update each other. We can actually do this behind the scenes and constantly update our team members on the progress that we're making. So I'll move on to the next slide, which is to show a guided dashboard walkthrough in our Power BI. So this is the first page of the whole dashboarding, which shows the profit and loss, cash movement, and invoice tab. And to operate this is actually pretty simple. You just have to click on each of these three. You have to press Control and then click. So I will move on to the profit and loss part. So I'll Control and press this, which will lead me to this dashboarding, which shows the financial dashboarding. So as you can see, there's a lot of visualization here, and all this visualization is actually to solve the issue of standardization. And so the last data set that was given to us has now been converted into simple visualization techniques, which allows the finance team to easily identify and also effectively derive valuable insights from it. So as you can see, there is net profit over time, total revenue cost over time, and income total cost by month and year, as well as financial matrices. So we also utilize a drop-down slicer, which is over here at the side. So what this does is that you can set the specific month. For example, I want to find September, so I will pick September. And the year as well. So in this case, I will put 2020 and 2021. So as you can see, the changes that was made is actually to this table, income and total cost by year, as well as the financial matrices. So By utilizing these drop-down slices, it's actually easier for us to track the designated time frame. And because of all the relationships that was created between all the data sets in the Power BI, we were able to link all those overlapping data. And this will improve the inefficiency and also generate more productivity. So the next thing I want to point out is that this financial matrix up here is changed when you set the month on and year. So as you can see now, it's actually green because it's showing a positive number. Okay, if I give you an example of March, which shows a loss, as you can see here, it turns red. So this is just for us to easily identify any loss or anything like that. So moving on here, total revenue and cost over time, it just shows the trend of the revenue and cost from 2020 to 2021. And these slices over here just changes the axis. Yeah. So now I'll move on to cash movement tab, which Miranda will show.
Yeah, and actually they have a home button here. So when you click this button, and they can bring you back to our home pages. So let's move forward to the cash movement tab. As what Evelyn stated in the from the start, because there's too much information in the folder and there's overlapping information. So we also do a slicer here. So when you click the cash received, you can see the cash movement tab will only show you the cash received graph, as seen when you click the cash band, then they only show you the cash band here. So that's also similar to our invoice tab, as we have two tables here. One is receivable, one is payable, and you can just filter the contact name. Like you only want to see the ABC furniture, so you can click this one, then they only show you the ABC furniture information here. And there's a slicer here, so you can adjust like in this time period that you adjust, then there's any debt or any payable bills you need to pay. So also same at here, you also can choose the ABC furniture, then you can see the payable bill and also adjust the time period at here. And there's a status filter here, which means you can see like what is the status of your bill. Is it still awaiting for payments or is it others? So now I will bring you guys back to our presentation slide. And I will now pass the turns to my teammates.
Okay, thank you, Miranda. So I'll be presenting on our future opportunities page. In the future, our team would look forward to create more space-saving dashboards with higher efficient usage so that we are able to fit more graphs and tables, which can give our client various visualizations to compare. Besides, we will also want to collaborate with other departments such as the finance department so that we are able to meet additional requirements such as creating a balance sheet, which also requires the financial information. Moreover, we want to incorporate new features such as trend and financial ratio analysis, which includes profitability, leverage coverage, liquidity, and efficiency with more data provided. Lastly, we will appreciate it if we are given the access to the online server so that we can publish the prototype. Now I'll move on to our team's feedback. Overall, our group has a few feedback in general on what went well and what did not go well. What went well was we managed to save costs as our actual costs are lower than the estimated cost. Everyone was active in communication, team adaptability and flexibility to adapt to changes by clients, smooth teamwork and helping one another as well, as also constantly tracking and updating each other on progress. However, some of us had limited knowledge in the tools used as we had not much knowledge and background on Microsoft Project and Power BI. Different ideas on design for our graph and time completion exceeded the actual deadline by 1.5 days due to the predecessor. That's all for our stakeholder presentation, and thank you for your time.